Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, Dr. Sam Christian speaks of his journey back to health following an accident which almost took his life. Attorney at Law Heather Felix Evans is Finland's honorary consul to Dominica. And work on Dominica's 7-megawatt geothermal power plant due to begin towards the end of the year. The details of the news coming up.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. 4 months ago, he was airlifted to Martinique to a Martinique hospital for critical medical attention with life-threatening pelvic injuries. He was told that had he arrived an hour later, he would have died. Today, a very grateful Dr. Sam Christian, who returned home recently, is now back home on Didier Lane, where Channel 5 News spoke with him on Tuesday.
It's one of the most beautiful experiences in my life, you know. From the moment I stepped foot off the ferry, I heard this great cheer and shout of joy, you know. It was really impressive, and, you know, it brought tears to my eyes, literally. And I went through, they sped me through the customs and immigration, very accommodating, and put me on the wheelchair to the final exit of the ferry terminal, and there was this huge crowd of people. Well, and you know, I just really felt really very special. So it was a really joyful experience. And of course, I walked from the ferry terminal to the makeshift tent that was there, and people were able to see me walking. For those people who knew the condition that I left, for them it was nothing short of a miracle.
What were they saying to you? I'm sure lots of people came up to you and tried to say something to you. What do you recall in terms of the way people, you know, embraced you and what they would say to you? How important those words were?
Well, I saw this, the sign, there were all the decorations and the balloons, welcome home, Dr. Sam, and everything like that. It's all generally, you know, we're glad you're back, you know, God has you here for a purpose, we love you, we were following your progress along the way, and just, you know, just receiving a lot of love and a lot of appreciation. And, you know, I thought back of the times that during my practice in the United States, I always do my best for my patients, and, you know, get into their families, try to increase their faith and so forth. And when people would say similar things to me in the United States, of course it would make me feel good over and above just the respect that a doctor receives. And I would always think, you know, boy, you know, that is nice, but how much nicer it would be if I were home, where people saw me grow up as a little boy, they know my family, they know my roots, and I'm a real son of the soil. And that was probably the greatest expression of that, to really feel at home, to really feel loved and wanted and respected.
Dr. Christian reflected a bit on his accident and making the critical move to Martinique, which literally saved his life.
From the very beginning, when it happened, I realized that I was not a factor. I was just a patient, and my future depended on fellow health professionals doing their job and doing it well, which they did. The doctors and the nurses used the best of the resources that we had to keep me alive. And the helicopter, I understand, had been in use all day, and the crew were not really eager to fly, and they needed an order from the Ministry of Defense in Paris itself to make that one last trip. And it is my understanding that when I got there, that the doctor said that if I had arrived 1 or 2 hours later, I would not have made it. So it's very sobering and somewhat unimaginable. It's like, you know, part of this story that, you know, I can hardly accept really happened to me. You may see the video. I was at La Salette in Point Michel last Sunday, and when I saw one of the people who rescued me, Mr. Fanso Kazimi, and Fanso said that he was just coming out from the gardening. He heard the sound, he heard the screams, and when he came, he saw Dr. Christian with the car over him, and my left leg was behind my head. And we have traffic passing. And, you know, it's still kind of hard to imagine. But I had two distinct thoughts when that happened, and that is, when I turned my head to the left and I saw my leg behind there, I knew it was not anatomically possible. The only way is if I had been ripped open and my leg was behind there. And I remember saying to myself, don't look, Sam, this is not good. One thought. And then, you know, with time, after they came in, I couldn't breathe, and the lights were going out, everything was turning black. And they came in there and they just ripped the metal that was on my chest, and I could breathe. And you know, at that point when everything was turning black, the second thought I had was, it's easy so people just die now? Because I really felt myself in a different zone. It was past pain and past fear, and I think I had a brush with eternity.
Aspects of the moving story of Dr. Sam Christian. Attorney at Law Heather Felix Evans says she is taking up her new responsibilities as Honorary Consul of Finland in Dominica, fully cognizant of her duties. Evans told a reception Monday night it was with great pleasure and a sense of humility that she consented to serve as Honorary Consul of Finland to Dominica. She says it was quite an honor and a privilege to have been recommended, considered and appointed to the post and approved by the government of Dominica.
I understand my duties to include getting in contact with embassy in crisis situations involving Finnish citizens and foreign nationals permanently resident in Finland, providing advice and assistance to Finnish citizens and foreign nationals permanently resident in Finland who are in distress in Dominica, either because of accident, illness, or they may be victims of crimes in Dominica, or they may be charged with an offense. In this situation, it is my responsibility when contacted to assist them whether with medical care, to accessing medical care, or to direct them to the relevant authorities or institutions. My duties would also include notarial acts, such as authenticating signatures, certifying copies, and providing life certificates. All these are services I have provided in my capacity as an attorney at law and notary public. So I am very familiar with these kinds of services. However, with this post, I have a responsibility to represent the interests of the Finnish citizens in Dominica.
She reassured the Finnish ambassador that she would perform her duties with a level of competence, efficiency and effectiveness that is reasonably expected of the office and by the people and government of the Republic of Finland. Evans says a little bit of research yielded quite a few interesting facts about Finland, particularly the education system, which Dominica could learn from.
Did you know they have a publicly funded comprehensive school system? No selecting, tracking or streamlining of students during the basic education years, which runs from 7 to 16 years. Did you know that there are no standardized testing in Finland until they reach the equivalent of what is grade 12 in the US and second year of sixth form Dominica State College? No standardized testing. Did you know that children begin school, elementary school, at 7 years of age? And prior to that, they learn at their own pace. It's play, whatever they want to do. The system what encourages them to just do what they, nothing compulsory. And that children are given free rein just to be themselves before elementary school. Did you know that all teachers are required to have a master's degree before entering the teaching program? And if teachers are not performing well, the individual's primary responsibility is to do something about it. Did you know that the status of a teacher is equivalent to an attorney at law and medical doctor in Dominica? Did you know that the education system promotes cooperation, not competition? And the schools, the gap between the worst performing schools, if there are any, I'm not saying there are, but the gap between the worst performing and the best schools is minuscule, very, very small. And education is used as an instrument to balance social inequality.
With the appointment of Mrs. Felix Evans, who is a well-known attorney at law, Finland can count again on having skillful representation in this country. Mrs. Felix Evans will be a splendid addition to the diplomatic and consular corps of Dominica. We are very lucky to have her as our representative. I also take the opportunity to wholeheartedly thank our former honorary consul, Mr. Julian Johnson, for the excellent performance during the years of his tenure. Now I have a pleasant duty to hand over to you, Heather, the appointment document and a small piece of finished design, which will be hopefully the first piece of a large collection to be completed later. So, please receive the document which authorizes you to be our honorary consul in this country.
Thank you.
It is a pleasure for me to hand it over.
It's a pleasure to receive it.
And the small token of gratitude in forehand.
Thank you.
You may open or not, if you will. Maybe I will help you. It's a, with my clumsy fingers, it's better not to do anything. This one. So, and it's glass, so there's a element of danger always. It's like a snowbird.
Okay, thank you.
Beautiful glass.
Thank you, Ambassador.
So it reminds you of the cold winters in Finland when you are, and you are lucky that you are born here.
Thank you, Ambassador.
CEO of World Central Kitchen has vowed to help Dominica's agriculture sector prepare for the onset of new hotels in the country. Here is Andrea Louis with a report.
That's the word from Nate Mook, who is on island as part of a 13-member delegation of the Clinton Global Initiative. World Central Kitchen is a not-for-profit, non-government organization devoted to providing meals in the wake of natural disasters. Mook says it is important that Dominica position itself to take advantage of the expanding hotel industry.
We looked at how the growth in the tourism sector with the new hotels that are opening up, how we can create more of a pipeline both for the workforce in the food and beverage sectors with culinary training and the potential for a culinary school, can feed into and support the growth of the tourism sector here in Dominica. Also how that sector can also link with the agriculture producers and those producing food and beverage products locally here on the island.
Mook says it is also critical for strategies to be put in place to ensure food security and distribution in the immediate aftermath of a natural disaster.
Food is a very unique thing because it touches almost everything. It touches so many different sectors and is so critically important. It's also something that all of us need at all times, especially in the aftermath of emergencies. And so to be more prepared, looking at how we can utilize the regional centers across the island to be able to produce prepared food in the advent of another hurricane or future climate-related disaster, but also can be utilized in the meantime for potentially preparation, production, training, and other useful utilities when not in those times of emergency.
So far this year, Dominica is expecting the opening of Phase 1 of the Jungle Bay Resort and Spa in Mon Akuma, Soufriere in June, and the official opening of Phase 1 of the Cabritz Resort and Spa Kempinski in Portsmouth in November. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism is looking forward to Dominica capitalizing on potential new features in its tourism product. Corinne Prévost made the disclosure during a press briefing on Tuesday following a roundtable discussion with a delegation from the Clinton Global Initiative. Prévost says Dominica is exploring ways to benefit from the prospective partnerships which may arise from the delegation's visit.
I am very excited about the opportunities and the possibilities for collaboration. We've had some discussions in our group with Expedia about how we package our experiences to ensure that when guests are planning their trip and they look for flights or hotels, that they can also find experiences. We've been talking about how we ensure that we can put all the information in a place that's easy to access. Someone comes to Dominica, what are the things to do? What are the experiences that they can be part of?
Prévost says impact travel is something which the ministry will closely look into to bring more visitors to Dominica. Social impact travel is a growing trend in the travel industry that aims to support local economies and make a positive impact on host communities.
Israel is also on our table, and we're discussing, again, in terms of impact travel, how we can ensure that when individuals visit Dominica, that they can contribute, they can be part of the NGO experience and what they are also trying to do in Dominica. Looking at the indigenous community in the Kainago territory, how we can showcase that a bit more, work with them to develop the product, to develop the craft. So we've been having a number of interesting discussions.
The team from the Clinton Global Initiative is in Dominica for 3 days, and during their stay, they'll make a number of site visits, including to Bellevue Chopin Housing Project and funded projects in Castle Bruce and Kalinago territory. The group will also hold meetings with the public sector, DAIC, and CREED, among others. You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You'll expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
Thank you for staying with us. Work on Dominica's 7-megawatt geothermal power plant is scheduled to begin in the final quarter of this year. Here again is Andrea Louis with more.
That's according to Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Trade, Energy and Employment, Sylvani Burton. Funds for the geothermal project were approved by the World Bank in March this year, and P.S. Burton says in keeping with Dominica's vision of developing its renewable energy resource, work on the geothermal plant will begin before the end of 2019. Burton says a holistic approach is being taken towards the development of the country's renewable energy sector.
We looked at the geothermal plant, which the government of Dominica will construct, a 7 megawatt geothermal plant. We expect construction to begin in the last quarter of this year, and the duration of construction will be for 18 months. We also looked at the possibility of utilizing microgrids to assist us in building a resilient energy sector, as well as solar energy. And so we had quite a bit of discussions because Anne really wanted to take some lessons from us to bring back to Haiti. We had DOMLEC with us, and so we also looked at what it is that DOMLEC is doing at present, working with the Ministry of Trade, Energy and Employment, so that we can truly reduce the cost of electricity to the residents of Dominica.
Anne Lee, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the charitable organization CORE, that is the Community Organized Relief Effort. This organization does specialized work in the United States and Haiti on disaster relief and preparedness. Lee applauded Dominica on its holistic approach towards geothermal energy development.
In every discussion that we were having, it was also thinking about how can we make the the geothermal consider the tourism impact, the livelihoods impact. So that holistic thinking is very unique, and I think a huge opportunity to be sharing that approach with other countries in the Caribbean. I also think that we also discussed a little bit about the land tenure issues that relate to these larger projects, and we would love to support in any way some of the learnings that we've had in a very difficult context with land tenure issues in Haiti and how we can support that effort. But again, I think it's a phenomenal approach, and I think the leadership from the Prime Minister being so obviously imbued all the way down to these agencies is very evident, and I think we have a lot of learnings that we can take.
Burton and Lee were speaking at the end of a roundtable discussion with 13 members of the Clinton Global Initiative and various government officials on Tuesday.
And General Secretary of the Public Service Union says it's not the norm for any minister of government to go directly to public officers and say that minister is going to give instruction to get them appointed. The Prime Minister told junior clerks at a meeting last week he would instruct the Chief Personnel Officer to appoint 53 of them. Thomas later says the public officers concerned have been acting in vacant positions and therefore do not need to feel beholden to anyone for their appointment. Later says the appointment of the 53 junior clerks could have been done years ago.
The people have been acting in vacant positions. It's not new positions that are being created. They are being appointed in vacant position, and to now have them appointed or get them appointed is not a favor. And not only that, I mean, it's not just they being appointed, but you have to look at how much you have lost over the years that they were not appointed. Because you're not talking about people who are now in the service for 2 years. You're talking about people who have been in the service for 10 years and even more. So in terms of gratuity, in terms of study leave and increment, and a number of other things they are losing. It means that after 10 years, after 12 years, their salary remains the same. They are the basic salary. So all those things one has to look at.
The DPSU General Secretary says the non-appointment of public officers is just one of a long list of issues which affect public servants.
In terms of our protests, the issue is not just the non-appointment of public officers. We have a number of other issues that we are looking at. The issues that the nurses have been experiencing over the years, where we have repeatedly calling for those matters to be addressed, and they are not being addressed. We have to look at that. You understand? So it's a number of other issues. We go down to the statutory institutions. We have instances. For example, at the Public Works Corporation, people have not gotten a salary increase for 10 years. 10 long years. What has been put in place to make sure that those who have been acting in positions are appointed after 5, 6, 7, 8 years? So it's a number of other issues. The question with our proposal that for 4 months, 5 months, no response. Because of the rally, we are now getting a response. And after not having acknowledged our correspondence dealing with our proposal for all that time, you're now writing to us and saying that in light of the hurricane and the assessment that you're doing, that you need another 2 months to get back to us. That doesn't make sense. And we are saying we are not prepared to wait for any 2 months. We are not prepared to wait for 2 months. It tells us one thing, and that is, while you were collecting all your data with respect to the budget, no attention was being given to public officers.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. To end the news, a look again at the headlines. Dr. Sam Christian speaks of his journey back to health following an accident which almost took his life. Attorney at Law Heather Felix Evans is Finland's honorary consul to Dominica, and work on Dominica's 7-megawatt geothermal power plant is due to begin towards the end of this year. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.